elect Glenn Youngkin, Winston Sears, and Jason Rose. And win back the House of Delegates. And with your folks, I, Ben Loyola, will win the Commissioner's office as well. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your service. And God bless America.
Staff Sergeant Sandra D. Osterman, U.S. Army. She served in the Army and the Virginia National Guard. She's the former Staff Sergeant, and I'd like to welcome some.
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you all are having a great Saturday and are happy to be here. I am privileged to be able to speak to all of you here today during this important time in our Commonwealth. Please let me introduce myself. My name is Sandra. I served 9 years active duty, where my first duty station was in South Korea. The Army took me to Fort Story, Virginia, right there in Virginia Beach, to BMI in Lexington, Virginia, and my last duty station at Fort Jackson, South Carolina. After transitioning from active duty, I served in the Virginia Army National Guard for 1 year and then the Army Reserves for 1 year. My last year and a half on active duty 22 years ago, I was blessed to become pregnant and gave birth to our first child, a beautiful daughter named Connor. I knew that if I ever became a mom, that my obligation and purpose was to raise her the best that I knew how. So we decided that I would get out of the Army and raise our girl. It was the best decision because, unbeknownst to her dad and I, our daughter was diagnosed with autism at an early age. Their therapies and more therapies encompassed their lives, and it was important that one of us was there for her always. I came from a long line of military family members, and I've been around the military community my whole life. My husband initially served in the United States Marine Corps for 4 years before transitioning and ultimately retiring as a first sergeant from the United States Army with over 24 years of honorable service. I was raised in a strong military family where my father, 2 brothers, a sister, a brother-in-law, and a sister-in-law all honorably served our country as well. So needless to say, our military is so very important to me, and I'm honored to have served this great country. In recent news, we all know about the fiasco that happened in Afghanistan in August. When President Biden gave the order to evacuate Afghanistan by August 31st, he did so, but left a number of service members on the ground only to provide security for the Afghans. By giving this order with no strategic plan in place, we lost 13 young service members and left thousands of American civilians stranded in a country with no way out. This was all because of the lack of military leadership that was more concerned with politics than with commanding soldiers and getting Americans out of Afghanistan. The withdrawal from Afghanistan was poorly executed and a complete embarrassment to the United States. I believe we were once seen as the strongest country in the world, but with the leadership in D.C. and the decisions being made today, they have weakened our military and those serving. How do we change this? It starts with our local and state elections. It's imperative that we elect Glenn Youngkin as our next governor of Virginia. Did you know that Glenn's opponent is a career Washington insider? He is a typical politician who has no idea what it is like to hold a real job. How is this so? One thing that can be said about him is that he can find the best investments and historically never loses. In 1999, he turned a $100,000 investment into $8.1 million. The odd thing is that a year later, the company he invested in and made so much money for quickly declared bankruptcy. 12,000 people lost their jobs, but of course old Terry made out just fine. I strongly believe we need a governor that would put the people of Virginia first, who loves our military and believes that America is the greatest nation in the world. We need a governor who will never leave anyone behind. We need a governor who will stand up to the dictators in D.C. and put our behalf and do the right thing. I strongly urge you to make calls and get your family, friends, and acquaintances off the couch and to the polls in November. Fight for what is right, for much needed change. This is very important. Vote Glenn Youngkin as our next governor.
Naصر محمد.
I did 26 years in the Navy and 11 ships, and I served 22 years in the Sea Group. Now I'm involved. I served in every armed conflict from Operation Urgent Fury to Iraqi. And I watch also down there detaining operations down in Afghanistan. So I've seen the whole gamut that goes on in the military. I support Glenn Youngkin because he's an honorable man. He demonstrates extraordinary courage and commitment. And he is committed, to this country, and he's also committed to Virginia. Leadership matters. Honor, courage, and commitment are the Navy's core values. They're not only the core values of the Navy, but they're our values. They're Virginia's values. I endorse Glenn Youngkin for governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia because leadership matters.
And next, I'd like to welcome our former 2nd District Congressman, Scott Taylor, U.S. Navy, who is joining us by video.
Good afternoon, Gold Star families, veterans, surviving spouses, neighbors, and distinguished guests. It's both humbling for me to be in front of warriors and a great honor to speak here today for Glenn Youngkin, Winsome Sears, and Jason Diarez. I'm Scott Taylor, combat veteran, former Navy SEAL, and U.S. Congressman. And just over 24 years ago, I left my small town for Navy boot camp. Receiving mail was the highlight of my day. I'd get letters from family and friends. Letters making sure I knew people cared not only about me, but they cared about what I was doing. They were proud I was serving my country, that I was a hometown son. It was these letters and those people whom I thought about through tough times in boot camp. These letters and those people who I thought about through tough times in Navy SEAL training. And these letters and those people who I thought about in war. I still think about them today. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is exactly why I'm so proud to be in front of you today. I'm proud to be in front of the people, the kind of people who were in those letters all those years ago. The type of people who wrote those letters and the type of people who received those letters. This Republican ticket, led by Glenn Youngkin, truly understands our value. They are putting people in place with policies that will make our lives better as veterans. Glenn Youngkin understands that when something happens in the world and Mother Freedom needs to be defended, it's Virginian men and women who go forward to the sound of the fight. It is our families who pick up the slack and shoulder the nation's burden of sacrifice and service. It is our neighbors who pitch in to help with the kids or the yard work or the coaching of sports. Glenn Youngkin is proud to be here today. He's proud of Virginia's contribution to our national security, and he is proud of all of you. Let us now stand together with him, with the honor, the courage, and the commitment to bring this election home. God bless you, Virginia, and these United States.
Now let's welcome another former Congressman Scott Ridgel, United States Marine Corps and former Marine Sergeant.
Hi everybody, I'm Scott Ridgel, and I had the privilege of serving Virginia's 2nd Congressional District for 6 years. And Virginia's 2nd District has the highest number of men and women in uniform, active duty, and retired of any congressional district in the United States. But the presence of our veterans extends well beyond the 2nd District. All of Virginia is filled with wonderful veterans who have served in all of our services and done so with great distinction. I think that a big part of what drives so many to serve, including so many of my own family, is a sense of duty and a real conviction to do what we can to direct the course of our country and our Commonwealth. And so that's why I'm here today with you, enthusiastically to support Glenn Youngkin, Winston Sears, and my good friend and close friend, Jason Yars, for Attorney General. What a slate. I feel so good about who we've elevated to serve and lead our Commonwealth. So please join me on November the 2nd for casting an enthusiastic vote for these 3 fine leaders. And importantly, I'm going to ask you to do even more. That is to use your new media, whatever you're on. I don't do Facebook very often, but I do have an account. I want to make sure that I've got all of the promotional material on the Facebook page. I'll be reminding my friends via text to vote that day for this great slate. So, let's go for a victory, a big one on November the 2nd. It's going to be a close race. We need everybody to show up at the polls to celebrate a great victory that night. And thank you so much for your service.
سلام هموطنان عزیز، امروز در یک محفل بزرگ اشتراک کردیم که اکثریت گورنرها و همچنان کانگرسمن‌ها و دموکرات‌ها، ریپابلیکن‌ها، زیادتر کسایی که پالیسی را می‌سازند، پالیسی میکرها اشتراک دارند. امروز با خاطر افغانستان با تمام از اینا صحبت کردیم، با خاطر اوضاع افغانستان، با خاطر ایمیگریشن، با خاطر SIV و کسایی هستند که میک چینج میکنن، یک تصمیم میگیرن به خاطر مهاجرین و گرفتن. و اینجا با بعض دیپلمات‌ها صحبت کردیم به خاطر موضوعات افغانستان و همچنان به خاطر راه حل در افغانستان چی باشه. را نمیتونیم در فیسبوک دوست ما، همکار ما آقای عبدو که همراه ما همکاری کردن و غافلگیر هم کردن، اما ما چندین نامه و مکتوبی که داشتیم آوردیم و سیناتور باب دادیم و چندین کانگرسمن‌ها که فعلا سر استیج است و خواستن که ما برم صحبت بکنم و ویدیوش بعدا انشالله با شما شیر میکنم. اینا تمامشان به نفع مردم افغانستان صحبت میکنن، به خاطر روابط افغانستان امریکا صحبت میکنن و به این خاطر اعضای دفتر روابط افغانستان امریکا را که در بخش اینترنشنال افیرزش آقای جری کار میکنن، اونا رو دعوت کردن و ما رو دعوت کردن. خواستیم که همین موضوعات با شما شریک بکنیم. تشکر. همیشه خوش خندان باشین. برنامه بعدی داریم، اما بعد پروگرام‌های دیگه هم هست. خواستم کوتاه اما قبولم که این برنامه امروز به خاطر امیگریشن و به خاطر کسایی که در افغانستان مانده و به خاطر که یعنی اکثریت کسایی که مهاجر آمدن اونا واجد شرایط نبودن، کسایی که واجد شرایط هستند در افغانستان باقی ماندن، روی مسئله بسیار یا پافشاری میکنه و مهاجرینی که فعلا در کمپ‌های نظامی به سرنوشت ماندن کجا برن، در این مورد صحبت کردیم و همچنان از زمین طریق فیسبوک افغانستان امریکا ریلیشن آفیس یا دفتر روابط افغانستان امریکا با شما تمام همکاران دوستان همکاران پیغام می‌رسانم که اگر کسایی که آمدن در سرفای این اردن زندگی میکنن مشکل روبرو هستن، لطفا با شما معلومات بنویسید و اگر میخواین شما سپورت کنن باید داخل کنن وارد جریان کنن و ما در کنار شما تنها نیستیم. کسایی که ویرجینیا میخواید بیاین با 100% در خدمتشان هستیم و دفاع خانه تمام برنامه رو برشان آماده میکنیم. تشکر، وقت خوش، زنده باشین، سلامت باشین، زنده باشین افغانستان. از آقای افغان وقت داریم که داخل تشکر.
2021 here in Hampton, Virginia. Please take your seats. A great lineup, including your rock star statewide ticket, Glenn Youngkin, Jason Yards, and Winston Sears. My name is Mahmoud. For purposes today, I'm a retired Army Lieutenant Colonel, and I'm delighted to be here to serve as your MC, and I am really thrilled that we have veterans from all over the state that have come here today, liberty-loving people, to support the work that American Veterans Vote has done to put this together.